Called by many names, gladiators, conquistadors, samurai, in the thousands of years of mankind, a group of men always has stood out above the rest. In all cultures from Rome to China, from Greece to the Empire of the Rising Sun, these individuals have represented the best of the best. They are a special breed. From pancration to Western pugilism, from wrestling to Asian methods of fighting, these men forge their bodies into deadly weapons. They are known as fighters. In 1993, something changed the history of fighting. Some describe it as the wildest event in the history of sport fighting. But before that cold night of November 12, the family name already was established as the toughest fighters in the world. They set the foundation of blood and steel for what today is called the OCTAGON. They are the genesis of mixed martial arts.
The idea of the challenges is not new to mankind. Our history is filled with countless stories and legends of a smaller man, weaker man, challenging and then defeating the stronger and larger opponent. And all we have to do is think of David and Goliath, for example. And then in the martial arts, of course, the idea of challenges developed in numbers of countries, particularly in China, where the Kung Fu masters oftentimes were goaded into protecting themselves with somebody who wanted to challenge them. In Okinawa, I'm reminded of Joki Motobo, who developed a reputation throughout his country to challenge anyone that wanted to fight him. And then in the 70s, Muhammad Ali was challenged by the professional Japanese wrestler Inoki. In more recent times, it was the Gracie family that revived the concept of accepting a challenge anytime, anywhere.
The Gracie challenge did not necessarily start with my father. All brothers before him have done that. The Gracie family, for those people who understand our philosophies, we are very dedicated to what we teach. And from the very early days, the Gracie challenge and that kind of thing, those challenges are not issued with the intent of demoralizing or making the other styles of martial arts feel bad or make sure that they're not worth anything. That has never been our intention. Quite the opposite. Our intention is to make sure that our students knew that we had such a strong confidence in what we're teaching them, that we are willing to step up to the plate to fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, to prove that we are 100% convinced that we are teaching them something that we really believe to be the best form of self-defense.
Very soon, Helio took over, and it was he who fought all the challenges. By fighting all comers and standing up for what he believed, the young Helio Gracie became the first recognized Brazilian sport icon. The sickly child turned his life around and became a man with a reputation of honor, skill, and bravery, receiving many national awards from the government of Brazil. Systematically, he modified and altered the classical method of jiu-jitsu and adapted it to a more functional system that required less physical strength and more leverage and finesse. This new method is what is known today as Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Helio Gracie popularity grew extremely big in Brazil. At that time, the #1 judo fighter from the Kodokan, Masahiko Kimura, was traveling around the world, giving seminars and teaching, and it happened that he was in Brazil. It was the perfect time for the great Helio Gracie challenge the great Masahiko Kimura to a fight.
Judo master Hal Sharp stands out as a significant figure in the American martial arts. Trained personally by the greatest judo masters in Japan, he forged friendships with the best Japanese judo and jiu-jitsu fighters at the time. Sharp spent a great deal of time at the Kodokan, the same place where the great Masahiko Kimura came from.
The people that became champions in Japan, I'm talking all Japan champion, were a special breed. These people trained 6 hours a day, sometimes more. From some of the stories I heard where Kimura heard that Ishikawa was training 6 hours, he's going to train 7 hours. Now, this type of training is not just free practice with somebody. Most of it was training by yourself. But they were very powerful. They could explode. The judo was explosive. This was not sport judo. This was fighting. Kimura's throws, I heard, were so powerful in the way he trained that people would ask him, please don't do osotogari, because he created concussion. See, when they threw, it wasn't just throw, boom, and stand up, pull up. They went all the way down into the ground. And that's how it was. These guys were tough.
Kimura came to Brazil. My father challenged Kimura, and Kimura declined the challenge, claiming that Helio Gracie was, first of all, an unknown. So why should he, Kimura, as the heavyweight champion of the world, fight a person who was an unknown? Number one. Number two, he would not want to fight my dad because of the big, huge weight difference, almost 80 pounds difference, which means that my dad would not have a chance at 140 pounds. And number three, if you want to fight someone, fight Kato, who is the number 2 in the world, 40 pounds heavier. He can beat you just as easily as I can. Those are the arguments that Kimura used to kind of shine away my father's challenge match.
So if somebody comes up to you and challenges you, they're not even in your league. You look at them, it's like a child. Who are you? What kind of a challenge are you talking about? Of course I can beat you.
Helio Gracie answered to Kimura that he had no problem whatsoever fighting Kato. Kato overweighed Helio Gracie around 40 pounds. Nevertheless, Helio said, I'm all for it, I have no problem. The first time that they fought, they actually fought twice. The first time that they fought, Helio Gracie broke a rib around 7-8 days before the fight, and still managed to hold on to Kato for 30 minutes. The first fight finished after 30 minutes, and it was declared a draw.
A month later, after he recovered, he fought Kato again, and this time he choked him out in 6 minutes.
After the takedown, Helio on the bottom is placing Kato in his guard, a classic defensive position. He is trying to put his opponent between his legs and get ready for his move. He will place one hand on the collar, and with the second hand, he will apply his favorite move, the choke. The effectiveness of the move puts Kato to sleep immediately. But Helio is afraid he might be faking, so he tells the referee that Kato might be sleeping. And the referee replied that Kato did not tap. Helio realized that he could not be faking for that long and pushes him away. Then we have the referee trying to revive Kato. The strong man with the white shirt is Kimura, the heavyweight champion of the world. At this point, Kimura challenged Helio Gracie to fight for the world championship.